Welcome to Milking the Franchise.
Yeah, maybe. If that song
Chris.
didn't get you hyped, I don't think anything will. You might be dead.
You might be dead if your hands are not on the floor, because they will not be up in the air. Then you are dead.
Yeah. And if you're dead, welcome to the podcast. If you're alive, welcome to the podcast.
And my respects to the dead, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. Obviously.
I don't want to be. Don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Welcome to Milking the Franchise with Chris and Tanner. How you doing, Chris?
I'm good, Tanner. How are you doing?
Great. It's the Cash Cow Chronicles, by the way. Where we watch franchise movies, talk about how they get milked to death, and cover all the IP surrounding it, or as much as we can, at least.
And we're just coming off a deep dive into Indiana Jones. So how did you feel not having any like whip and hat based content this week?
Oh, it was kind of nice.
Was it a relief, or did you miss it?
It was kind of nice. Yeah, you know, those movies are overall, I think they're too good. You know, I think because of the Milking the Fridge, I was like, oh yeah, those movies go downhill at some point, but it really never was that bad. You know?
This is true. They're all pretty good movies.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for this one. We're staying in the Steven Spielberg-verse this week with Jaws. But he has nothing to do with the rest of the movies, and I imagine they get pretty bad pretty quick.
Yes. I do know there's a couple Return to Stars for the second, but after that, nothing.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Just shark content.
Oh, by the way, it is Shark Week, which I will talk about later. Been watching some sharks on Shark Week.
What did you get your mother for Shark Week?
I got her a life-size blow-up of.
Did you send her a card?
I got her a life-size blow-up of the host, Jason Momoa.
She'll love that. She'll love that. You're such a good son.
You know why he's the host of that? I realized.
Because he's Aquaman?
He's Aquaman.
Yeah.
And he's just buff, and he's kind of an island vibe guy. You know, he kind of dresses like, I
mean, in the new Fast and the Furious movie, he's just wearing the flowiest shirts. Like,
that's so
he's
crazy.
Living that island vibe. Yeah.
It's one of the craziest characters in that whole franchise. In a franchise of insanity, he's one of the craziest.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, before we dive into Jaws, we already kind of hinted at what we're talking about today, but do we want to wrap up Indiana Jones?
Let's do it. Yeah, so last week we watched
Destiny.
The Dial of D.
Dial of D.
And we put out a survey every week and have you guys chime in, and we read your answers on the podcast and try to get some funny responses going, some funny conversations, some afterthoughts, and some voting. And we'll review it right now, real quick. All right, Chris, you ready?
I'm ready, baby.
Favorite line, we got, they look like snakes. No, they don't.
From the eels scene?
And whatever I did.
It's snakes, but in the water.
Sea snakes, of course. Yeah. And then whatever I did, I apologize. Old man Indy apologizing.
Yeah.
Favorite
just
scene.
Favorite
scene. Got a tie between Tuk Tuk chase and opening Nazi train scene. Great
Both
opening
great
scene
set
in the movie.
pieces.
Yeah. Fun action scenes in that. What is your favorite movie? 100%. Well, we both voted for Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's the best, always will be. You know, I was talking to my coworker, and he's like, "Oh my god, I'm such a Temple of Doom guy." He's just like, "I don't know, I didn't really like the first one. It felt so different than the others." I'm like, what's
Wait,
happening right now?
Temple of Doom more?
loved it.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. He loves Short Round, he said. Yeah. I don't know.
E.T., Mr. Jones. That
Mr.
that
Jones.
character. That's the one that he
Yes.
really connects with.
Loved him.
I already regret doing the voice. I already regret it.
That's all right. He's a kid.
He's a kid. Yeah.
We got favorite ending, favorite MacGuffin. We talked about the MacGuffins of the Indiana Jones series, which were basically, what are they? Artifacts that
yeah, they're kind of the thing
chasing.
that they're pursuing in each one of those movies.
I really liked the Holy Grail in that ending with the rapid aging, and you loved the Ark of the Covenant with the face melting. Fantastic.
I did. Everything about that first movie just hits for me. It's yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think I voted for it for everything except for best villain, because I think the villain out of Destiny. I'm getting ahead. Sorry. I'll let us get there.
Yeah. No worries. Yeah. Yeah. Favorite indie female lead, we got Marion. Favorite indie sidekick, Salah. Favorite villain, looks like you said Dial Destiny, Mads Mikkelsen himself.
He's so great. Yeah,
he was good. And then I voted for the Raiders on that one. Hans Naziman. Yeah, I mean he's very creepy. He just looks.
He
creepy.
Is. That scene
and
when
watching his face melt is like,
watching his face.
He
melt
looks
great.
better. I think he looks better when his face is melted.
Yeah, such a dream.
What were you about to say?
Oh, I was just like, my favorite scene, I think, after rewatching it with him was when you think he's getting out nunchucks to like beat up Marion, and he folds them together to make a coat hanger.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that was good.
Yeah.
What is another historical artifact that could be used for the next Indiana Jones? We got Pythagorean's original triangle. Is that like an instrument that I know he's a mathematician, but did he actually have a triangle that he used?
Well, he's famous for that a squared plus b squared equals c squared thing with triangles. Sorry, I'm a math teacher, so that it comes out sometimes. There's no original triangle. That's not an artifact that exists.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was something he would use.
It was just a dumb joke.
Do his math on.
It would make a terrible movie too. A terrible movie.
It's definitely his favorite instrument, though. Mm-hmm. It's the triangle. And then we got the actual cross that Jesus died on. King Tut's tomb. And then I had an idea for the Terracotta Army coming to life in some way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, I guess they did do quite a bit of Egypt stuff in the Raiders one, but you're right. I think like there's.
I mean, that's the most famous.
Stuff.
It's probably the most famous artifact like that I can think of, right?
Yeah, and like it made everybody love archaeology for a generation. You know.
Yeah, and I wasn't. Yeah. Now that I think about it, that might have been like they might have been uncovering all that like when we were kids, and that's why it was such a big thing.
Yeah.
In my memory. If you could travel back in time, what would you do? That's a big open-ended question. Learn how to juggle. Wow. Nothing else?
No, your answers are better.
No,
I'm reading over your shoulder here.
Yours is funnier. Okay, buy GameStop stock. Buy GameStop stock.
There we go.
And be the first movie podcast
Tanner's
ever.
Gonna get rich.
I'm gonna be oh god. Roaring Kitty. I'll be Barking Doggy would be my name. Anyway, buy GameStop stock and be the first movie podcast ever.
Oh yeah, get it on the ground floor. Instead of us, I think we're in the low 10,000s of movie podcasts.
Oh yeah, somewhere in there.
Not number one, but we're close.
But number one in the hearts of the people, soon to be.
That's right.
This franchise has done a chase scene with just about every mode of transportation, including zeppelins, tuk-tuks, horses, cars as well. What mode of transportation would you like to see in an indie chase scene? We got rollerblades multiple times, and skateboard, and a Segway.
We want to see them blades, man.
Would you kill Hitler as a baby? We got to split. Yes or no? Yes and no.
Okay.
If no, why do you hate America? and I just went literally student debt relief cancellation because my loans are restarting soon, and it's been on my mind.
That turned you, huh? Yeah.
I think the reason I wouldn't do it's the whole situation. And would you kill? What would be different now if you went back in time and blah blah blah. You shouldn't fuck with that. That's basically why I said no. Of course,
butterfly effect, that sort of thing.
You know what I would do with Hitler is I would adopt him and teach him the good ways. I wouldn't kill him.
Would you teach him how to juggle?
Awful. Yes. If you only knew how to juggle, none of this would have happened.
Turn him into a circus clown from a young age.
Honestly, you know what? He probably would have been a nicer man. And Dial of Destiny, we got a 3 and a 4 out of 5. 3.5. Pretty good.
Yeah.
I prefer the 10 scale. Maybe I'll switch to that next time. It's a little bit easier for me to rate because I get so hung up on. Anyway, and we got a bunch. I had a bunch of responses for the next franchises. I'll let you look at those, Chris.
Great. I'm excited to poke through those.
Yeah. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. What we're here to talk about is our next franchise, and that is Jaws.
Mm-hmm.
The Jaws franchise. The first summer blockbuster.
Yeah.
Did you know
the one that kind of changed movies to this?
Changed movies.
To kind of what we're dealing with now with Marvel. I feel like Marvel is the end product of what Jaws started all those years ago.
Yeah.
Big summer blockbuster, big stars, lots of money, big budgets.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's been going, I remember them talking about it when Independence Day came out. It was like Will Smith was like the summer blockbuster guy for a while. Men in Black. But yeah, it's kind of like in the movie. It's summer is where they make all their money,
Mm-hmm.
So to shut it down would be bad for the country, bad for Hollywood,
bad for the town of Amity Island. You sound a lot like the mayor right now.
Exactly. But yeah, it's the first summer blockbuster. People at that time thought that everyone's on vacation. They're not gonna be watching movies during the summer. You kidding me?
What, are you crazy?
There's no air conditioning, and they're like, what if we put air conditioning in the theater? Then they want to go inside and watch movies.
You're a genius, Tanner.
See,
this is what you need to go back in time. This is your time machine. This is what you need to go do.
I went to a movie recently. Pretty cool story. And what am I trying to say? I was cold in the theater. I was too cold. It's almost too cold is what I'm trying to get at.
Oh, wow.
Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? What's the deal with...
What's the deal with this?
Cold theaters.
Did you try blanket?
No, well, it's 80 degrees outside. I go in the cold theater, and then I'm too cold, and
man, that sounds like a terrible experience. Are you doing okay? Do we need to check in on you emotionally today?
That's all I wanted was a little check-in. Thank you.
Okay, well, great. I'm happy to oblige.
I was just
should we jump in on Jaws here?
Let's jump in on and pile on here.
Cool.
Jump in the water.
Come on in. The water's fine. So this one's based on a book by Peter Benchley.
Is that based on a true story too? Did you
definitely not?
Vibes? No.
Yeah,
I know it'd be exaggerated, but I thought maybe.
I think there's little pieces. I don't know. I started reading the book this week, but I didn't get very far, so I don't even know if we should talk about it at the end. But he talked a little bit about how a lot of the things that he used had pieces of the truth in them, but this isn't how sharks act. They don't eat people, and this movie might have done a lot more harm than good,
right?
Because it turned a generation of people against sharks.
I looked at this list of deaths by animals, and they were at the very bottom with 4.
Right.
4 a year.
Yeah.
And it was I don't know. Mosquitoes was 800,000 or something, or 80,000.
That would be such a more.
But even dogs was just thousands of people get killed by dogs every year, I guess. So Yeah. Yep. So everyone, put your dogs down. Get them out of your house. They're gonna kill you.
Yep. And Hollywood, make a movie about mosquitoes. Where's our Skeeters movie?
Well, they did make. What I was gonna say with the dogs, they made Cujo. How come that didn't spark like a fear like Jaws did?
Great question. Question.
Thank
Maybe
you.
it's because not enough people have sharks as pets. That's how we fix it. That's how we fix it, Tanner.
That's a good point.
Yep.
All right, where do you want to start here? I need to grab my notes, so hold on one sec.
No worries.
You started out.
Yeah. So Peter Benchley wrote the book, and then they hired him to adapt the book into a screenplay. And apparently there's a mafia subplot in the book and a love interest. So I'm excited to read the rest of this book, and we'll talk about that as we
a love interest for
get into the
Jaws.
sequels. I'm not sure. There's a romance of some kind that happens, and I don't even know where it would fit in this movie.
Oh,
like maybe, maybe Hooper and Brody are in love or something. I don't even know.
I could see Quint and Jaws falling in love.
Oh yeah! Instead of him getting eaten at the end, they just like have like a hardcore sex scene.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, perfect. No, but anyway, Peter Benchley. I enjoyed his writing, so I'm excited to read some of this book. But that's not what we're starting with. We're starting with this movie. So we meet early on. Oh, actually, we don't meet Officer Brody quite right away. We instead start at like a party, and there's some young kids. They're drinking. They're hanging out on the beach, and one of them goes skinny dipping, and the boy. So it's a boy and a girl. A girl goes skinny dipping, and the boy immediately falls asleep in the surf, which seemed implausible, but we'll roll with it.
Well, he was trying to get his clothes off. He's like, I can swim. I just can't walk or undress myself. And he's it's like, you serious?
Because I'm so sleepy.
He's like, I'm coming. He's like running after
pretty girl.
She's running on the beach, and he's running and kind of tripping. He's really drunk, and it's like, I'm coming. And she takes her shirt off, and he's like, oh, I'm definitely coming.
Yeah, and then he immediately falls asleep.
And then he falls asleep. He couldn't get his clothes off in time, and was too drunk.
Yeah. And yeah, so she is out skinny dipping, and we get our first Jaws kill.
Yeah.
It starts slow. She feels something bite her leg, and we don't see the shark, but we get the ominous, the famous John Williams score, the and yeah, she kind of gets ripped up. The water turns red, and
I love how she's being like pulled like back and forth, left and right, like. Just such a classic shot. Like she's like kind of just like, I was wondering how they filmed that scene, if there was like somebody like swimming pulling her back and forth or what.
That's a great question. Yeah, I don't know. Did they build a machine for that?
Maybe they got a real shark to do it.
Yeah, practical effects, right?
Yep. So she dead.
She real dead. And the boy wakes up in the morning, and his girl is not there, but her clothes are, which is mysterious. So he reports her missing to the police, and we meet Police Chief Brody.
Yeah.
And his cute little family. He's got a son. He's got a wife.
Yeah.
And he has to go look for the girl. And he pretty quickly they find the body of this girl up, like kind of over, the boy couldn't see it. It was washed up on shore. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm having trouble with my words today.
That's all right. Mangled to shit. And the boy shows up, and I don't know why they like bring him over, and he has to witness the dead body as well.
Yeah.
They're all horrified, of course. And this prompts Brody to, what does he do first? Does he want to shut down the beach right away?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because he goes to buy like paint supplies to make those signs, right?
Yeah, he's just kind of like gonna casually shut down the beach and be like, look out, there's sharks out here.
Yep.
But
while that's happening, I really loved the touches that they made. I think we talked about this a little bit in Raiders, but I think what Spielberg's really good at is like these little interstitial scenes and like making them really fun, but like having all the other things that they're complaining to the police about, like the karate classes, karate chopping, the white picket fences. Like they do a really good job of making this town like a really sleepy, like tourist destination, but sleepy little island town.
This movie's so elevated by just the dialogue and the script and the directing, and the acting too. But just like, I mean, what could just be it's like a B movie, it's a King Kong movie, it's just some monster movie really at its heart, but then it's like totally elevated by everything else.
Exactly.
All the little jokes are good and funny. There's just every line is good. It's just like could chew on it a little bit. Anyway, keep going.
No, exactly. I love that. So Brody wants to close the beach right away, and the mayor kind of steps in the ugliest sport coat I have ever seen. Covered with little anchors.
Does it have anchors on it? I missed that.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So mayor.
Brody's police, but I'm fashion police, and I'm coming for that mayor. But yeah, he says it's, this is a tourist town. This tourist town makes all their money in the summer, and if we close the beach, like everyone around here is going to be pissed. Like, how are they going to make that sweet, sweet green?
And at first the coroner just says yes, it's a shark bite, but then when the mayor shows up and tells him all this, the coroner's there and changes his mind, says it could have been a propeller kind of thing, it could have been like a boat accident. He changes his tune immediately. The coroner kind of flips, and so Brody goes along with it, and they open the beach back up. He kind of gets turned like he's just like, okay, I guess so. I won't worry about it, much to his better. But then he goes to the beach and with his family and is like on edge. Every little thing that's happening is like he's getting scared of it, and people are, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every little thing. There's like a girl in the water getting lifted up by her boyfriend, and he's looking at it like, oh God, that's another shark attack.
Yeah, and it does a great job of building suspense for the viewer too. All those little like, what's that over there? What's that over there? It's just kind of like building the suspense for when the shark finally does show back up.
The scene where he's like looking intently out in the water, and there's some guy, just kind of this big doofus guy, comes in and starts talking to him right in his face, and he's trying to like look around him, look over his shoulder, because he's like, and he's just like, hey Bill, hey Officer Brody, just like talking to him about some other stuff, and he just can't focus on anything else but like a possible shark attack right now.
Yeah.
And they don't reveal quite yet, but Brody has a fear of water and boats and the like, and he's a sheriff in a small island town.
Yeah, seems like a bad fit, but he seems like a good cop, so maybe that makes up for it.
Yeah, I get the small town. At one point, he's like, going to a small town, you can make a difference. As in a big city, you're just doing whatever, walking the block. But in a small town, you can maybe make a difference, and I get that. But then you could go to any small town. You don't have to go to a beach town if you're afraid of the water.
Very true. Yeah.
What happens next here?
We're back on the beach, and like Tanner was saying, it's kind of cutting to and from Brody and then out into the water. And Brody's like real nervous that the shark's going to return and eat somebody else, and it does. The shark rolls up, and there's a mass hysteria. Everybody runs back up onto the beach, and there's this like really haunting shot of this mom like walking in the surf, like looking for her son, and that's the second casualty of this shark season on Amity Island. There's a young boy named Alex, and that's kill number 2.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the same person, but somebody on the beach was yelling Tippet. Some kid named Tippet. Tippet.
Oh, maybe his name was Tippet.
Well, no, it was Alex. You're right. But they're like, Tippet, Tippet. And I just thought that was a funny name that I wanted.
That is a funny name.
Tippet.
If you ever have kids, Tanner, keep that one in mind.
I will.
Tippet Lawrence, yeah.
Tippet.
Tippet?
I love when kids play in the water in this movie too. It's just furious splashing constantly.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's sort of normal. I don't know, but it's like really ramped up.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think we're going to town hall now, right? Is that
I think so. Yeah. Once a kid gets killed, she puts up the a reward for 10,000 or $3,000 or something.
Starts at 3,000. Yeah.
For finding the shark. And then you get the town hall scene, and then you get introduced here to Quint.
Hey, Quint, what an entrance, dude!
Yeah, what do you got on this entrance here?
He uses his nails on a chalkboard to shut everybody up, and then I'll catch that bird for you. Just such a haggard, like barnacle of a man.
Yeah.
I wish Robert Shaw, man.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
So good.
Do you know anything else he's in? Because I don't know.
I think he's in some old westerns, but I'd have to look it up.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, crusty old barnacle, is that what you called him?
Yeah. Yeah, just a man of the sea.
Yeah.
But such a good entrance. But yeah, they're kind of arguing, like, should we keep the beach open? Should we close the beach? Whose authority is it to make this decision? Like, whatever. And Brody says that they are going to shut the beach, and the mayor quickly jumps in and says for one day. So they're going to close the beach for one day, and then they're opening it back up for 4th of July. And so we meet Quint. Quint says he'll do it, but not for $3,000. He needs $10,000, and then he'll go kill this bird for you, I think was the words he used.
Yeah.
Anything else that Robert Shaw's in? You got that pulled up?
Oh, I did for a second. I mean, it's a lot of old movies, just like something called Swashbuckler. The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. I think that's a
Pelham 1, 2, 3.
Movie.
Okay.
Oh no, that's not. The Sting. I think that's a.
Oh, that's what I know him from. The Sting. Yeah, because he's the guy that gets ripped off at the very end. I think, right?
I don't remember the movie very well. I think I watched it in school, like a long time ago.
Okay, I've seen that one a couple of times. I think he's the one that they set the Sting on. He's like the big bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scarlet Pimpernel. A lot of old movies, a lot of old stuff here. I don't really recognize.
Okay.
Yeah. From Russia with Love. Isn't that one?
Bad guy in that one?
It says Grant. I don't know.
Grant. Okay. Well, whatever. This is not a Robert Shaw podcast, so we'll.
But tune in to Milking the Shaw. It's a sister podcast we have going.
Oh, it's so much more sexual when it's about one person.
Oh, that would be a funny spinoff. Go through every movie an actor has done and call it Milking the whatever.
Oh yeah,
I mean, Milking the Dreyfus.
Hey, he's in some good stuff. That Mr. Holland's Opus is pretty good. But anyway,
well, Close Encounters, of course, love that.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Anyways, crusty old barnacle comes in and does that, and then they don't agree to it because the city doesn't want to. They don't want to pay him, right?
Yeah. I mean, why would they pay him $10,000 when they could just have the mother of that dead child pay $3,000 because she has put up the money for.
So she's putting up the money.
Yeah.
And then you get just a frenzy of like out of towners and people that show up trying to like hunt the shark. And there's a really great scene of they're all just like I don't even know how many boats, dozens of boats all cruising together and like just shooting at the water and like it's just a fiasco.
And isn't that exactly how it would go if they called a bounty on a shark like that? Just a bunch of drunk idiots in boats, like, and dynamite, like they're throwing sticks of dynamite in the water. Yeah. Exactly really, how it would go.
Really funny. Yeah. There's a quick little scene. I think Brody's having a moment with his wife, and they're just like drinking, and she's like, "You want to get drunk and fool around?" Oh yeah. I don't know why I thought that scene was funny.
Yeah.
Just you
another one of those little
moments
fool around.
That makes this
exactly.
Movie,
like you said, it elevates it to above a B movie monster show.
And then it's like showing. This is kind of when you find out he has the fear, and like his kid is out playing in the boat even after this accident, and he's like, "Get out of the boat," and she's kind of like, "Oh, don't yell! Let him. He's just in the boat. Like he's not in the water." He'll probably never go swimming again, you know. And then she looks at some picture in a book that she was looking at, and there's like a shark biting the boat, and she's immediately just like, "Get out of the boat! I told you to get out. Your father told you to get out of the boat."
Get out of the water.
Yeah. So yeah, everyone's coming for the shark.
We also meet Richard Dreyfuss in here, who's the third like big player in this movie, and he's the biologist, the city boy, and he kind of shows up to help kind of deal with the situation on the beach.
Yeah, is it oceanographer?
Oceanographer. Thank you for that word. Yeah,
and yeah, one of the locals trying to catch Jaws. There's a scene where Jaws does come up on them at the docks, and what do? Do they harpoon him or something? They somehow get him on a fishing lure, and Jaws just rips the entire dock apart. And a scene there where one of the few people to escape Jaws. Charlie gets out of there alive.
And it's one of the things in this movie that I love. Like, Jaws has infinity strength.
Hell yeah, he does.
Like you know, he shreds this dock and then pulls it through the water, and you know, there's nothing he can't do.
Yeah, he's a monster.
Yeah. He's an absolute monster, a terror.
Yeah. So yeah, we got Matt Hooper there, Richard Dreyfuss. All these people are out there chumming, as they call it, getting the shark, trying to get the shark out there, which I love that word. I'm
not chumming like you and I on this podcast, Tanner. Chumming like throwing bits of fish into the water.
Couple of chums out here,
just chumming it up. Should that be our podcast name?
Yummy, yummy, yummy. I got chummy in my tummy. That's the name.
That's the name.
Yeah, well, let's just change it for every type of movie. We'll just.
Oh, I looked it up. The yummy, yummy, tummy, chummy is already taken, so we're gonna have to keep thinking of this one.
Damn it!
Yeah,
all the good names are taken every time.
That's why art is so hard these days. All the good ideas. Anyway,
AI has done it all already.
Oh, don't even get me started. Yeah, it's gonna put us out of business in no
AI
time.
was like copywritten everything it ever thought of, and you couldn't use anything that anyone ever generated on like ChatGPT?
Oh God, yeah,
that's the future.
Well, pretty soon, Tanner, I think you're gonna replace me with AI because it'll be cheaper.
Oh yeah, you're costing me a lot of money here.
So much money, dude. Yeah,
I have to like have an internet connection. Rest,
etc. Yeah, more stuff probably. Anyway, let's jump back into the movie here. All the drunk out of towners, the idiots on the boats, do catch a shark, and it's a pretty big one. They bring it back in. It's a tiger shark. They hang it up, and everyone is stoked. The town is stoked. The mayor is stoked. Brody is stoked. Everybody's thrilled that they've caught the shark, and they can go to the beaches, except for Hooper. And Hooper kind of looks at the shark. It's a tiger shark. It's not as big. He talks a lot about the bite radius. So, like, the teeth aren't big enough to have caused the wounds that they found on the dead girl. And so he's
like, it could be the shark. You know, I'm not saying it's not the shark, guys. I don't want to get. They're all like threatening to beat him up when he's saying it's not. He's like, I don't want to get beat up or something. You know, it could be the shark. Maybe it's not the shark. And so he suggests like cutting the shark open because it has a slow digestive period. And they're just like, we're not cutting open the shark right here in front of everyone in the cameras and having this little kid like fall out of it.
Which is a really good call.
Yeah, exactly. There's no reason to do it there either way. Yeah. The autopsy is a good idea, of course.
It's the one good call that the mayor made in this movie.
Yeah, they do a good job of trying to humanize him a little bit, too, because at first you're like, he's just a fucking greedy motherfucker, and then there's a couple moments where you're like, oh, I get it, you know, I do get, you know. Yeah, anyway, we'll talk about that later. But, yeah, so let's see, what do they end up doing?
Hooper joins Brody and his wife for dinner.
Oh,
they talk a little bit. We get some backstory on Hooper.
Before that, though, the lady shows up at the docks with the shark.
Oh, she does.
And she's wearing all black, come from the funeral for the kid, and she like slaps Brody and is like very mad at him for. She found out that he knew about the first girl dying and didn't do anything about it and shut the beach down, or didn't shut the beach down, which led to her kid dying. And so now Brody is very upset in this next scene with Hooper at dinner, and he's drinking a lot of wine.
Was the mayor still at that scene? Because he didn't say anything. He was the one that made the coroner lie.
Yeah, I mean, they just focused mainly on her giving shit to Brody because, he's our character. I'm sure she said something to the mayor too. Maybe not. But I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway. Last we see of her, but that was a pretty affecting moment too. She made the most of her time on screen.
Yep.
And then we go to dinner. Hooper joins Brody and his wife. They drink some wine and eventually cut open the shark that the locals had caught. There's a license plate in there was it New Jersey plate?
I missed that.
The sharks eat anything. They wanted to kind of let you know that early because they're going to come back to it. And there's no body parts, so this is not the shark that ate the girl and the little boy.
Yeah, and they want to go out on a boat right now. Is that right? Is this the same night?
Yeah, I think so. They immediately jump on Hooper's fancy.
Yeah,
fancy boat.
Brody's like, he doesn't like boats, so there's some more talk about how he's afraid of the water and boats, and he's like, I'm not drunk enough to go on the boat, even though he's like wasted. And he's like, is there a clinical name for that? And he's for this affliction? He's like, yeah, drowning. So they end up going, he gets them to go on the boat, and they go out to, what do they find? Some wreckage? They're using like a radar to go find Jaws, I guess, right?
Some sort of radar sonar thing.
And they find some wreckage of a boat and swim down. And
Hooper recognizes it's like a boat from a local, and Hooper recognizes, or sorry, not Hooper. Brody recognizes whose boat it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we get another couple casualties to Jaws that we didn't see, but the boat has a huge hole in the hull there's a giant like shark tooth on it. And then there's like a floating head in the bottom in the hole, right?
A little jump scare. Yeah. The head pops out. It's missing
jump
an
scare
eye.
moment.
Yeah.
So you find out some more like fishermen or something died. And then the giant tooth was kind of their clue that it's a great white shark, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
unfortunately Hooper drops the tooth, so they don't have proof to bring back to the mayor. And there's a little scene right after that where they're trying to convince him to shut the beach, but it's the 4th of July. It's their biggest day of the year, and the mayor's not having it.
Yeah, and they're like, Hooper says, sharks are attracted to exactly what's going to be going on out there. All the splashing and swimming. Like, sharks are just attracted to splashing, apparently.
Oh, they love splashing and swimming,
love splashing.
They love it.
Especially the way these kids splash around. Oh, my goodness.
There's one thing I know about sharks.
Yeah.
Big fans of splashing and swimming.
So, yeah, the 4th of July comes up, and everyone's at the beach enjoying their time, and including Brody and his family. It starts off kind of showing nobody's swimming. And so the mayor's walking around like, okay, everyone's here, but nobody's going in the water, not one person. And he pays somebody, or does he bribe somebody to like go in the swimming? Is that right?
I didn't see any money change hands. I think he was just like peer pressure.
Oh, he's begging. I wrote begging people. It's like, come on, go in the water. Come on,
just a little bit.
And
first taste is free, baby.
So he goes, and they all go at once, like holding hands, and that kind of like gets people feeling like it's safe to go in. So a bunch of kids run in, a bunch of people run in, and now everyone's back in the water. Brody's kid wants to go in the water, and he says, "No, go play in the pond instead," it's an estuary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is what exactly? It's kind of like
it's
slow-moving part of in between two islands or something, or
is that what it was? I don't know
know
what an estuary is. I thought it was just like a freshwater kind of like lake that opens up into the ocean.
Okay, that could be, but it's connected
But I
to
could
the
be wrong,
ocean.
too. It is. Yep.
Okay. Partially enclosed coastal body of water. Okay, yeah.
Okay,
so
so
right.
it doesn't need to be freshwater. It can be saltwater too.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, he sends his kid over there with their boat. The kid initially resists because that's for old ladies. That's where the old ladies hang out. But he ends up taking the boat over there anyway. And we get some just fun shots of like people partying for 4th of July. Mayor's giving interviews about catching the shark. There's people swimming and sunbathing. Like Tamer said. Go ahead.
I find out that amity means friendship.
Oh, man, just chumming that amity.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off.
No worries. And and then we actually do see a shark fin, and they spot it. They freak out. Everybody busts out of the water.
Pandemonium.
But as a viewer, you know it's not real because there's no music.
Oh, good call.
You know, we don't get the dun-dun, so you know it's not a real shark. So just if you're ever out swimming and you don't hear that, you're fine.
You're fine.
But yeah, because it's two kids with like a scuba tank and a fake like cardboard cutout of a shark fin, and they were out there just goofing and trying to scare people, and they did.
And they come up after everyone's left, and all the people that are like hunting the shark, they like take their heads out and look up, and there's like 20 people holding guns in their face.
Those little children are lucky they didn't get shot.
I know, exactly. Yeah, because the way they were doing this, I mean, they're all shooting in the water. Like, they don't care. They're throwing dynamite in there. Yeah. Why wouldn't you just shoot it? Wait till the shark to come out of the water before they shoot?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
it's kind of a Boy Who Cried Wolf moment. It's a little bit of levity, but then the shark does appear, and where is that shark, Tanner?
It's in the estuary.
Yeah, you're learning some vocab on the pod today.
It's where the old ladies are.
Uh-huh.
And it comes after Brody's kid.
Yep.
And his friends.
And then there's also a man in the smallest boat I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
It's like an origami boat that is holding a full-grown man.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. And that guy gets ripped up. We see his decapitated leg float to the bottom of the ocean, or of the estuary, excuse me. And that's kind of kill number 3 of the ones that we saw on screen.
Yeah, and Brody's kid gets taken to shore, and he's kind of passed out. And they're like, "Is he okay?" And they're like, "He's fine." He gets taken to the hospital for shock. And he had a shock attack.
Did you write down that joke? Were you planning that?
Yes, I have a big circle around it.
It's a good one. I liked it.
The delivery wasn't as good as I had hoped.
Do you want to try it one more time? We'll just edit out that last part.
Yeah, will you say it? Lead me into it.
Okay, so the kid. I mean, what was going on with the kid? It seems like he went to the hospital for like shock.
Yeah, he had a shock attack.
There we go. That one's the one. We got to keep her.
And he didn't get bit by the shark, but he did have a shock attack.
He had a shock attack. Anyway, at this point,
and that's the end of the podcast.
Hang it up. We're never gonna beat that. Let's just stop now.
See ya.
See ya. Thanks for listening. At this point, the mayor kind of caves in, and they decided to hire Quint to hunt down the shark.
This is the touching moment where he's kind of like, my kids are out there, Brody. Like, he realizes, oh shit, I am an idiot. My kids are out there. I have a family too, and I'm like putting my kids at risk.
I put the finances of the city in front of people's safety, and I kind of screwed up. Let's go get this monster.
Brody's like, come on, do what you do best. Use that pen and do what you do best, and sign this. Which I love that as like a politician kind of thing, using your pen. Somewhere along the line, he gets roped into going out with Quint, or am I speeding ahead too far?
No, this is right where we're going.
Yeah.
He goes out, and they also loop in Hooper. And Hooper was planning on leaving to go on some other shark expedition, but there's a great white here in Amity, and so he's going to stay and he's going to join the crew too. So it's Hooper, it's Brody, it's Quint, it's three dudes on a boat going after a shark.
Hell yeah.
And at this point, I checked, there's still an hour left in the movie. So the rest of the movie is three dudes versus a shark. And it's awesome. And it's awesome.
Podcast wise, probably go pretty quick though.
Absolutely.
What were you gonna say?
There's a lot of movie here that we're not gonna, go over in every detail, but it's
we're gonna try to recreate that tension for you in words.
Yeah, a lot of it's just the interplay between these three dudes.
Yeah.
I saw that. Why did they take Quint's boat and not Hooper's? Hooper had a way nicer boat, right?
Well, it's a Quint. I'm sure Quint's is like, yeah, we're taking my boat. I don't want your fancy New York boat.
You're probably right. Yep. You got city boat.
Yeah, so there's just a lot of like life at sea stuff going on, hanging out. They're playing cards. They're drinking and hanging out for a couple days, and trying to throw chum and get the shark's attention and all that. I actually saw, just a side note, there was a play that came out with Robert Shaw's son or grandson or something playing him. And it's like, it's the three actors in this scene hanging out on the boat, because apparently they spent a lot of time on this boat while like the mechanical Jaws thing wasn't working very well. That's a huge legend of this story, of this movie.
Oh, okay.
The mechanical Jaws like didn't work. That's why they didn't end up showing it as much as they had planned, I think. And so they just like, which, causes more tension not to show the creature, it's like,
it's scarier when you don't know where it is. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But part of that was because of like it not working correctly, and they spent a lot of time on this boat. But there's a play about the actors hanging out, waiting to film for like 3 days on the boat. So
really?
Basically, a lot of that stuff hanging out on the boat, I think, was like at least inspired by. It might even be them getting drunk. I don't know, but it's inspired. Like that is kind of the vibe that was happening while filming the movie.
Yeah. But they're great scenes. It really, like, Quint finally comes around and respects Hooper, because Hooper, has a bunch of scars from his like life chasing sharks, and we get some backstory on Quint from his time, like in the military, and it's great. It's good stuff.
They're comparing scars. They're getting drunk and showing it, the scars.
Yeah.
So I'll
drink to your leg.
Yeah. I'm going to ask everyone what their coolest scar is.
Ooh, I like
What's
that.
your most badass scar?
Do you have a cool scar, Tanner?
Well, they're all shark bites. So, no, I don't think scars. I have one. Can't think of any. Okay. Well, I mean, I have some scars. I don't know if they're cool, though. I
have a rollerblading scar on one of my knees from when I was like 10 years old. It's probably my coolest one.
That's pretty cool. I have an appendix scar from where they took my appendix out.
Ooh, when did you get your appendix out?
In college.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah, I went to school. I was out of the hospital.
Was it removed by a shark?
Yeah.
The shark
had
bit
my
it out?
appendix eaten out. No, I was. It's just funny. You get something taken out of your body like that, and I was out of the hospital in 2 hours and back at school in like 3 days. I probably shouldn't have been. I was really hobbling around at school, but anyway. Oh, wait, I do have a scar on my leg that I can still kind of feel from when I was like 10, and I built a ladder, or there's like a log that like had these little pieces of, little tiny limbs kind of going out from it, and we use that as a ladder to like get up to this tree fort we were trying to build. And I slid all the way down it and got this huge gash along my leg. So there you go.
Well, I'll drink to your leg, Tanner.
I'll drink to your knee. Yeah. In this scene, I think it's at the beginning. They like have a couple failed attempts. Did they pin Jaws pretty early on before the drinking scene? They get him once with a barrel, so they shoot him with a harpoon, and get him on the what am I trying to say here? On the fishing line or whatever. This might be two different scenes actually. But
no, you're right. This happens before they're drinking.
The best scene in the movie, or the best line in the movie for me, is "You're gonna need a bigger boat." You know, that's like, I just love that. I've been referencing it all the time for everything. You're gonna need a bigger this all week. So, yeah, I forget exactly what happens.
Well, they tag. You're right. They tag him with a barrel. So there's like a line connected to this barrel, and I think the idea is like the shark can't dive to the bottom of the ocean because it's being floated back up to the surface. Yeah. And if they spot the barrel, then they know where the shark is, and so they can kind of hone in on this thing and drag it back to shore. So while they're drinking, the shark attacks the boat and kind of screws up, like pokes a hole in the side a little bit. And busts the light and some more like superhero stuff from the shark. And the next day, the shark comes back by and they tag it with a second barrel. And and then it's kind of, it's on. At one point in there, Brody goes to call on the radio for help. And Quint's like, no, this is ours. And he busts the radio with a bat. So it's literally just the three of them. There's no chance of help. It's three dudes on a boat versus a shark.
Yeah, he's fucking just, this is my shark. No one else, like, we don't need any help out here. He's kind of like all in. I'm either going to die fighting this thing or get out with it, kill it. It's either me or him kind of thing with this guy.
Oh, big time. This is his white whale, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great white shark, actually. But
thank you for correcting me. I appreciate that.
So yeah, I think by this point, they hit him with the three barrels. Now there's three harpoons with floating barrels on his back. And Jaws is this is the final showdown. Jaws is like tugging them along and towing the boat.
Yep. It rips the cleats off of the back. Like, yeah, it's dragging the boat backwards. The engine breaks. The boat is kind of falling apart as they're just shooting bullets at the shark for a while. And Hooper decides he's going to go down in a cage and try and attack it with a harpoon from below. And the shark busts through the metal grates of the shark cage, and so Hooper's just like stabbing it with a knife. Trying to kill the animal, and at this point Hooper kind of disappears and we think he's dead. It kind of leaves you to believe that the shark got Hooper, and
you see it. We kind of saw what happened, but he drops his like little spear. He was gonna inject it with something, right? With like, what is it, like nitroglycerin or something that's gonna like slow it down?
Yeah,
he's gonna try to like put it to sleep or whatever it is. So he's got the spear with this like this chemical on it or something. And he's going to try to stab it from the cage, and he drops it like immediately when Jaws comes and hits the cage.
Yeah.
When the cage opens up though, Jaws is like attacking the cage like crazy, but he swims down. So you kind of just see him like swimming away.
Oh, I missed that then. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought he was like, might be dead at this point. I mean, I've seen this movie before, so I knew he wasn't, but I thought that they showed it in that way.
Yeah, he swam away. He went after the thing, kind of like a heroic move to like go get the thing. Right. But then you don't see him again till almost the end. But he's in scuba gear. Jaws is attacking the cage, and they're trying to pull the cage up while Jaws is attached to it, and they get the cage. It's completely wrecked, so they think he's dead for sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
And then the fucking shark comes straight after them and bites the end of the boat.
Yeah, it like jumps up on the tail end of the Orca, the name of the boat. Jumps up on the end of the Orca, and the boat like tips up, so it's sliding. It's like slanted down, and so stuff is like sliding down towards the shark, and Brody and Quint are like up on the boat, kind of fighting for their lives, trying not to slide down into the teeth of this shark. And it gets Quint. Quint slides down, and he's like kicking the front of the shark, trying to avoid getting gobbled up. But he ends up, shark gets him. He slides into the mouth of the shark, and the shark drags him into the water. he spits up blood, and there's blood everywhere. So it's pretty clear that Quint is no more. R.I.P. Robert Shaw.
Yeah. Epic, brutal scene. Completely eaten alive by the shark, and the shark's still hungry. Jaws is still hungry, and Brody kind of goes down into the cabin. The boat is like fully sinking slowly, and he goes into the cabin, and Jaws bursts in right there, and he's kind of like, what is he doing right here? I think he's trying to like, is this where he has the tank, or not quite yet?
I think I think it was still when he was like eating Quint. I'm not sure, but yeah, he feeds the shark one of the scuba tanks, like this big scuba tank. And they made a point a couple times to show that like these things are pressurized gas, and we need to be really careful because if we drop them, they might explode.
Yeah.
And so one ends up in the mouth of the shark, and Brody climbs up on the mast of the boat, right, like halfway up.
Yeah.
Like Tanner said, the boat is like fully sinking at this point. It's tipped over. It's taking on water. And all Brody's got is a gun.
You kind of like far away or something. Did you move positions?
Say that again.
Oh, you just like turn way down in volume or something.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sure.
Yeah, let me try that one more time. So the boat is sinking, and Brody's got a gun, and he is shooting at the shark, and it's pretty clear he's trying to hit the scuba tank that's in Jaws' mouth. And then did you catch the line right before he shoots the scuba tank and the whole thing explodes?
Dude, it's so good. That ending is so good. Smile, you son of a bitch.
It's so good.
Smile, you son of a, and then boom, shoots the thing. Guts,
huge
blood, explosion. It's so good.
Yep.
And, a lot of these scenes I'd seen so much of this movie, but I don't think I'd ever watched it fully from start to finish. And I'd seen all the classics back in the day. I used to get all the Netflix DVDs. And for some reason, I just never watched it. I don't know why.
Okay.
It's one of those that was just always right there. Like, I need to watch that. I need to watch it. And I just never did fully. But I'd seen that scene before on, like, compilations of classic movies and stuff. But it's so good. Very satisfying.
Yeah.
Like, just
what an end to this movie. And so Hooper scuba dives back up to the surface or surfaces or whatever and joins Brody, and they swim back to shore together on like a little raft that they make from the debris of the boat. And then the last lines in the movie, Brody says, "I used to hate the water." And Hooper says, "I can't imagine why." And then and that's the end. And that's the end of Jaws. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Hey, the city saved $10,000 at least because Quint died.
Oh, that's true.
It's sad ending for him, but they didn't have to pay anyone. So.
So the real winner is the mayor.
The mayor wins. Yes. Gets to keep his job. He gets to save the money.
Yep.
Give himself a nice little payday, maybe.
Yeah. Buy some more of those suits with anchors on them.
Sharks on them next time.
Ooh, I like it. Cool. So that's Jaws. What'd you think, Tanner?
Loved it.
Yep.
Yeah, just so classic. Like
suspense.
I said,
everything between the action scenes is great. The set pieces are great. Such good chemistry between the three leads. It's a killer movie. It's really great.
It's a killer movie.
Oh, yeah.
It definitely warranted sequels. I mean, I don't know. I guess it is how could you recreate that again? Of course, it's going to go into like some monster movie territory without the gravitas of a Spielberg or something.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I feel like this movie kind of opened the door for all of those other like Lake Placid and Anaconda and Piranha, like all the other scary monster franchises that kind of came after.
It definitely like elevated those for sure, because before this, I mean, there was always like Attack of the 50-Foot Woman or like, there's been like crazy monster movies like that for a long time. But this is like, we can make one that is a prestige movie that's gonna,
Yeah.
get nominated for Best Picture and like all these Academy Awards. It won a bunch of like special effects and sound and score, stuff like that. But it lost to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it was nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
And it made a ton of money.
That.
It's best of both worlds.
It's like one of the most successful movies ever made, because it's like $9 million budget and it made like $450 million or something.
Jesus. Okay.
Just huge, like especially for the amount of money it was made, and that was in 1975. I read something the other day, adjusted for inflation, it's like it's still like one of the highest grossing things if you want to adjust for that, because just everybody saw it. And it's rated PG, which is just, we talked about this with Indiana Jones. But that's crazy. So anyone could go see this movie back then, and it's terrifying no wonder so many people were afraid of sharks for so long.
Yeah, dude.
You're 5 years old and you see this.
The effects hold up like in 2023 standards, and I can only imagine what this was like watching.
Oh my god!
When did this come out? Was it the
75?
75. Thank you. Yeah. God.
Yeah.
So many like traumatized children, I'm sure, went to see this thing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Let's see. See if I have any other stories about this. You got any other tidbits about the movie?
I don't know if I've got any other tidbits. Have you been to they have a one of the more famous rides at Universal Studios in California is the Jaws ride. Have you ever been to Universal Studios?
I did. Yes, I did do that when I was like 8 years old. So a while ago.
Yeah, me too. It was cool. I was one of the most memorable parts of Universal Studios for me. Yeah. This and the Backdraft ride, which is a movie I've never seen.
I remember that for sure. I'm gonna get into this. Oh, if you want to talk Universal stories in just a minute, or Universal Studios, I've got a video game to talk about.
Oh, goody.
Yeah. I guess we could get into that. I did. Yeah, I got a couple things here. Cool. I guess the last thing, as far as the franchise goes, do you think after that movie, obviously it's easy to say, yes, you could make another movie like it, but you're just going to be repeating the same thing over and over again. So do you think it really warrants having a bunch of sequels?
I feel like they would be crazy at least not to try a sequel, because it made so much money and it was so successful on so many levels. But you're kind of right. Like, the obvious sequel is just there's another shark.
Yeah.
Right.
What else are you gonna do with it?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll find out.
Yeah, we will. Because they made 3 sequels and we're gonna watch them all.
I'm really looking forward to some of the last couple. I think 2 is gonna, just thinking ahead, I think 2 is gonna be like the same movie. I know Roy Scheider's in it. Who I love, by the way, I just watched Sequest for the first time, like this old 90s show. It's like Next Generation, but under the sea, and he's like the captain of this sea vessel in the future.
Okay.
And but he got really typecast for like underwater adventures, by the way. But he's just so great. But I think the second movie is going to be the same thing and just like more of it, right? It's going to try to do the exact same thing. And the other ones turn into, it's going to be just, I don't know. Like,
I think one of them takes place in like the Bahamas or something. So I'm really excited to watch that one.
It's going to be just crazy cheese, like killer movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them, I'm pretty sure, just a little teaser. It's like you're supposed to be rooting for the shark. It's like a shark turns against the people.
Eat those kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Jaws. I do want to talk about some future. This is a segment on the podcast called The Milk, where we talk about how the franchise has been milked, other IP that has come out and what we're kind of talking about. Chris, you mentioned you are reading the book. Give us just a little taste of what you've read so far, what you think of it.
Yeah. Well, the book was written. Oh, I have his name here. I want to give him credit. Benchley, yeah. He died in 2006, and he also wrote the screenplay. So I think the screenplay is pretty true to the contents of the book, but he mentioned in the foreword to the book that there's a mafia subplot and a romance story. So I'm excited to find out like what stuff got cut, because the movie studio, I guess, wanted a much more direct, like a much more straightforward storyline than the one that he created for the book. So I'm excited to kind of see what the differences are. But the part I've gotten through so far is honestly the couple skinny dipping at the beginning. The boy falls asleep on the shore. The girl is missing. It's very like almost shot for shot, kind of like how the movie starts. So
gotcha.
Hopefully by next week I'll have gotten a ways through it and can talk a little bit about some of the differences.
No worries.
But I like his writing style. It's a good read so far, and the book was also very successful. It was a huge, like, New York Times bestseller.
Is it kind of written like a news piece almost, or
no?
Or is it just very novelized?
Yeah, it's very novelized for sure.
Gotcha.
And and it's his it's his masterwork.
Yeah. I don't know anything else he's written, but he is in all the Jaws movies. He was in that movie. He's the reporter. Yeah.
Okay.
He's the reporter at the beach.
Okay.
Which was what I was going to shout out.
He's written some other books. We'll see if I have time to get to them while we're watching these movies. But they all seem to be kind of nautical themed, and he turned into kind of a what's the word I'm looking for? Like an oceanographer. He kind of turned into like a guy that would go on these boat trips and like was into preservation and lots of that stuff too. So he's got other deep water adventure novels.
Do you think? So yeah, he kind of like found his little niche.
His niche.
Stuck to it, and then I bet like the preservation thing was because people blamed him for like shark. Because then people started killing sharks because of this movie.
Oh, big time! It
was like
everybody's terrified of great white sharks. Yeah.
I mean, the amount of fear that this movie inspired is crazy. The amount of just everything that this movie inspired was sharks.
Oh,
just the bad rap that they get. Like I said, they only kill like 4 people a year or whatever.
Yeah, apparently we are not very good meat to them, and we're really bony relative to like a seal. And so they don't really actually attack humans very often. And like you said, like the legacy, we talked about the legacy, like money wise, this movie made a ton of money and won awards, but it also really shaped people's perception of sharks for forever. You know what I mean? It like really changed how people viewed these big, awesome animals.
Do you want to go down the list of the world's deadliest animals?
Oh, yeah. Hit me with some of them.
So this could be some propaganda against. Okay, so this is from Mosquito Week, which sounds a lot like Shark Week to me. So maybe they're kind of making mosquitoes out to be worse than they are. You know,
are you on Skeeter.com?
Yes. Miss Skeeter.
Okay.
They kill 7. Just a lot of these numbers vary from what I've seen, but in general, 725,000 people a year. And then, which is like from disease. I wouldn't call that on the same kind of thing. You know what I mean? They're spreading diseases.
They're not sucking people. All of the blood out of people.
They're not. Yeah, exactly.
They're spreading malaria.
They're not eating people alive. Yeah. And then human is the second one. They got to add in there. Like, don't forget, humans actually kill more people than sharks. Okay, but the actual animals, we got snakes, 50,000 people a year.
Oh, don't tell Indiana Jones.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Dogs, 25,000 a year.
Okay.
Then we got some more bugs. I'm kind of like, this is more like the poison stuff. I don't know. Freshwater snails, 10,000 a year.
What?
I don't know. That's what it says.
I'm just imagining a movie about freshwater snails.
Yeah. Oh my god. Shell.
The shell.
Shell shocked. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you can do a little research on how freshwater snails kill people. Then tapeworms, roundworms. But back to the big animals, we got crocodiles.
Right.
1,000 people a year. Hippopotamus, 500. Lion, 100. Elephant, 100. Wolf and shark tied for 10. So another one
They're number 10, or they
4.
kill 10 people a year?
These are how many people they kill per year, according to Mosquito Week on GatesNotes.com. So, I saw another one that was like 4. But in general, the point is they don't really eat that many people, and they get a really bad rap. That being said, if I saw a shark, I'd be scared. In fact, I did see a shark when I was snorkeling in Thailand a few months ago.
Oh.
Yeah, we were in this area that's supposed to have a lot of sharks, and I saw like maybe 1.5 foot, 2 foot one swimming, and I swam straight back to the boat, even though
I bet you did.
there was no actual danger. Like, there's tons of other fish. Probably something in there that could have stung me just the same or whatever, but I saw it and I just hoofed it back.
You didn't cut it open to see if it had eaten a little boy?
No, I didn't want to scare the boat drivers, all the kids. So yeah, this movie caused a panic that wasn't necessarily there, but I'm not gonna say it's bad. I'm not gonna rag on it too hard for that.
It's part of the impact that this movie
what
had.
happens.
It was such a big movie. Yeah.
And I don't think that kind of stuff could happen anymore, because the internet and all these things, they would dampen that kind of a fear of a movie like that,
Absolutely. Well, and we have Jason Momoa on the case, promoting Shark Week, protecting these majestic creatures. So shouts out Jason Momoa.
Speaking of, so for my portion of the milk, I got a few things here. Yeah, I watched some Shark Week. It's Shark Week right now. I hope everyone's out there watching, DVRing, VHSing, all, 200 hours of Shark Week.
It's a lot. Yeah.
I mean, it's so crazy. It's literally 24 hours of shark content all week long. And I turned it on for a while. The thing is about it now is they've really just gone full Ancient Aliens with it. The thing I was watching was called Alien Sharks, and they continuously talk about how these alien-like creatures, they're sensationalizing it so much on there. It's so bad, and they're hunting for the next megalodon kind of thing. Yeah, it's all very sensational and insane. There's some cool shark stuff in there, just footage and stuff like that. But overall, Shark Week is just, I can't even believe it's such a huge thing. Or maybe it's not anymore. I don't know.
Everyone knows about Shark Week, but I don't know anyone that really watches it. The people, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
it's probably
I brought it up to a coworker of mine.
The biggest thing of the year.
Oh, definitely. There's no other, Bigfoot Week is not that big of a draw. Because those kind of channels, all they do now is aliens and Bigfoot and stuff like that, ghosts. And kind of the big megalodon fits in with that not pseudoscience, well, sort of, but cryptozoology kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's crazy. Last year, the Jackass crew hosted Shark Week, and that was actually something, maybe it was 2 years ago. That's actually something I could see, because they were doing stunts, jumping over sharks and stuff. So that's actually
that doesn't surprise me. They had that Wild Boys show where they did a lot of animal bits.
Yeah, exactly. That was actually
that seems like a good fit, actually. Yeah.
That's the one thing. It's okay, this is actual content. This isn't just cryptozoology nonsense.
That's a new word to me, Tanner. Cryptozoology.
Oh, really?
I had not heard that before.
So it's
I'm
Loch
just
Ness
imagining
monsters.
sharks trading Bitcoin. But then telling all their friends about it, you know?
Yeah. You don't have 1,000 Sasquatch coins? Squatch coins?
Squash. Well, no, but I bought the NFT, so I think I'm good, man. I'm gonna be set for life.
It's your face on a Sasquatch, the NFT.
Exactly. It's gonna be worth so much money.
What was it? The Bored Apes? Do you remember those?
I do remember those. Yes. Should we make bored sharks and then become billionaires?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, please.
Yeah.
I just saw somewhere that Steve Aoki lost like $750,000 buying that NFT, something insane like that.
Wow.
I was gonna say about Shark Week, my coworker, I brought up how I was watching it and how it's just like sensationalized, and she's like, "Oh, I love Shark Week. Oh my god!" Like she loves Shark Week. So there are people that watch it.
Is this the same friend who thought Temple of Doom was better than Raiders of the Lost Ark, or is this a different one?
No, but
okay.
I work with some characters here.
It sounds like it, man.
So that is Shark Week. And I got some more milk here that I want to get out of the way because I got a lot of video games to play in the next couple weeks that I'll be talking about. Jaws video games, Jaws inspired video games.
Great.
And the first one, I made a little video. I'm going to put it out there when we release this on YouTube of me playing and completing. Yes, I beat it. Jaws for NES.
Awesome.
And it's a pretty just bad game, but I actually had fun with it. It's not, it's pretty simple. It's literally just there's like a top-down view of a boat, and you start at a port, and you go out a little ways in the water, and you just run into random things, and you kill stingrays and squids, and that's pretty much the entire game until you run into Jaws. Then you have to shoot him, and you're just a little scuba diver shooting Jaws. Took me a while to realize that you got to collect these seashells, which is your currency, and then you can level up your ship and your guns to destroy Jaws. And the game can be beaten in 15 minutes if you know what you're doing. Once you know that, it was super easy. And I just collected a bunch of seashells. You'd go between two ports back and forth and just level up, and then you avoid Jaws until you level up, and then you can kill them in about 5 minutes.
Okay.
But yeah,
was it fun?
It's kind of fun. I enjoyed it just maybe because I was in the Jaws mood. It's very simple, but I enjoyed it. And you can watch me play a little bit of that. Cut it up into a 5-minute thing, maybe 8 minutes. But that's Jaws for NES. Came out in 1987. One of multiple Jaws games. And then this game that I want to talk about, we talked about Universal Studios, the ride. So there's a game that came out in 2001 or 2 called Universal Studios Theme Parks Adventure. And it's a character that is running around Universal Studios going on those rides that we talked about.
Really?
That's the entire game.
It's a video game of the rides at Universal Studios?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
It's
this is the milkiest milk we've ever talked about on this show.
It's so milky. It's hardly even a Jaws thing though.
Yeah.
So, but I had to include it because it's just so insane. But it's the worst open world thing you can imagine. Really bad graphics here. It's very tedious. You're running through these little parks. There's nothing to really do until you get to each ride.
Please tell me you have to wait in line to get on the different rides.
Well,
it's a 10-minute, you have to wait in line for 10 minutes.
It's so tedious. You get up, they give you one pass for the first ride, and then you get up there and you get once you use the first pass, when you go to the next ride, they're sorry, there's too many people in line. You can't go on the ride right now.
No.
So yes. And so you have to run around and you collect garbage, cleaning up the park, and you collect little letters that spell Universal Studios, and I don't know, something happens if you get all of the things.
Oh, this
but
is
basically,
incredible.
you're collecting stamps in a stamp book, and all that is you ride each ride. So you ride every ride, complete it. It's actually more of a mini game, but yeah, it's insane. It's very tedious, and the direction of it all is so bad. Like you're just running around, not knowing where to go, picking up trash. Like I said, yeah.
Well, did you get to the Jaws ride, or did you just do like Backdraft
I did.
and Waterworld?
So luckily, I wandered around for just like 5 minutes, and I was just like, I was complaining about it, and the first ride that I came across, luckily, was Jaws, because after that, I went around, I was like, all right, I'm going to play some more and see what these other games are, and then I found out you have to wait in line, you have to go back and go back to the beginning of the park, and get another ticket, or do little things to get more tickets. I don't even know. I quit after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, luckily the first one I came to was Jaws, because I played it and I beat the thing in one go. And you're on a little boat and you're throwing those
nice humble brag there, Tanner. Tanner beats things in one go, everybody.
Hell yeah.
Hell
Especially
yeah.
really shitty easy games. But yeah. Basically it was like a 3-minute thing where Jaws was attacking a boat and you're kind of running around throwing barrels at it. Sort of entertaining for like 2 minutes. But yeah, you throw barrels at it and you kill it. That's basically what happens. And it's like biting the sides of the boat as you go. And then you get your little stamp, and that's it. And then I got to buy a little Jaws hat that I was running around with for the rest of the game. Little shark fin hat.
Here's my question for you, Tanner. Did this make you want to go to Universal Studios?
No.
When you were playing, you were like, oh, I gotta go.
It made me hope that they run out of money and shut down permanently. But I doubt they spent much on this game. Oh, yeah. And your guide throughout the whole thing, it starts off your guide is Woody Woodpecker.
Oh my.
It's just like, hi, I'm Woody Woodpecker. Go complete the rides and come back with your stamps. And it's just, for some reason, Woody Woodpecker is there at the front of every ride too.
Oh man.
So yeah, then I cruised around a little bit, and I was like, all right, I'm going to try a couple more of these rides. Try to go to Jurassic Park. So they've got Back to the Future, Jurassic Park, E.T., Backdraft, and Jaws, I believe.
I love that Backdraft is in there, because that movie does not belong with the other ones you just named.
I know. But I do remember you brought it up earlier. That was like a very memorable ride at Universal Studios, because you're in a room and you're on a little balcony and it falls a little bit, right? And there's fire everywhere, and I just remember
so much fire.
But that movie, nobody watches Backdraft. It's been lost and forgotten, I'm sure.
It's funny because it's just such an insignificant movie, but that ride is one of the most timeless parts of Universal Studios from my memory as a little boy.
Definitely.
Yeah. That's great.
So the next thing I went to, which is funny, I couldn't get into Jurassic Park because I needed a ticket, and I was like, well, that is really dumb. But I found Waterworld, which was, I guess, big at the time.
Also remember that one. I think those were I remember Backdraft, Waterworld, Jaws, and then there was a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids one.
Ooh,
that I remember from when I was a kid. So anyway, continue. What happened at Waterworld?
Waterworld was, it was literally just, you choose where to sit in the audience. So there's 4 choices, 4 angles, and you watch a plane crash into water and there's an explosion. That's it. There's no game. There's nothing. You literally are just someone in the stands, watching this little set piece. And it's about 10 seconds long at the most, and then that's it. You've done the Backdraft. It's there's not even a mini game for that one. Yeah.
This just sounds, it's like a game for people that can't afford to go to California.
This, exactly. This is this is such a cash grab. Imagining they charged $60 for this game.
I can't imagine.
This is a universal cash grab. This isn't a Jaws. It's not. I don't blame Jaws for this, but this is a universal cash grab for sure.
I'm so happy I know about this now.
It's so insane. I'm gonna post a little video. I recorded myself playing some of these, and maybe I'll dip back in as well. But it's painful. So I did though. I was a trooper for a little bit. I went around and I got another ticket, which was just backtracking all the way to the beginning.
You were backdrafting?
I was backdrafting to the future, and I ended up going on the ET adventure and doing that mini game because I wanted to try another mini game, and that was just riding a bike on a straight path through the woods with ET and my bike, and that was the whole thing pretty much.
Oh, wow.
I had like a 6-minute timer and I beat it in like 2 minutes, and I crashed a lot. So there's no skill really. There's no threat of it's not fun at all. Like there's no game to this.
So what Tanner is saying is save your money. Don't buy this game. Just go buy Reese's Pieces.
Oh, well, definitely.
Yeah.
It's like my favorite candy.
Yeah, they're delicious.
This game was panned, it says, by critics for its tedious gameplay, poor graphics, and anomalous nature. What is it? I should know what that means.
I think you're pronouncing it wrong. I think it's estuary. It's a body of water that opens into the ocean.
Cryptozoologist nature. It is frequently censured. Oh god. Okay, it's considered one of the worst video games of all time.
Okay.
Terrible game. Forgotten to history, but luckily the internet's out there and I can easily play it. Yeah. And that's that.
I love it, man. I love it.
That's the milk. So yeah, I got some more games. There's a Xbox game, Xbox 360 or something. Came out a little bit later, so maybe a little bit better. Get to eat some people as a shark that I'm going to play next time, and that's that.
Yeah, that sounds great. And now I'm going to get a little bit deeper into the original book, and we'll be able to talk about that a little bit with Jaws 2.
Sounds good. Yeah, we talked about maybe there's like a Jaws board game. You can find some other things that are not as much time intensive, as reading the whole novel. But we'll find some other IP to delve into for this. Other than that, I am excited for Jaws 2. Anything else you want to talk about with Jaws this week?
I think I'm good. You got
anything else? Did we forget any of our segments here?
Oh, well, I think we forgot to name the meat.
The beef? Where's the beef?
Yeah, but we talked about it.
I don't even know. I didn't have much beef with this movie.
Oh, that's true. Because the beef is the stuff we need that we didn't like. I agree. This movie's great. It's a great movie.
Yeah. I can't think of anything really.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
Stay tuned for Jaws 2 next week. And please do take our survey. It really makes everything so much better. Please.
Pretty please.
We'll
with sugar on top.
We'll read it on the air.
Yeah, that's all we got, guys. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week when we watch a new
Jaws. Oh wait, movie.
Thanks,
Bye, everybody. Bye.